Happy Friday, 1905 Studios, coming at you from the office this week. And we're here for a special filming with a special guest. And we've got a special show today. Basically, we just wanted to talk a little bit about Andrew, so a little more to the video this week. Mainly, wanted everybody to know that he is doing well, recovering well. He's tired, and it's going to take him a little bit to fully recover and be back to normal. But he is back at school and has handled it so far as it goes. But we did want to thank everyone for participating, following, caring, praying, and sharing your concerns as we went through this for the first time. Your pastor and the church family, and I know everybody knew about Andrew, and many of you have seen the videos and discussions, about, his journey and all the things he's been through. But it's also been a new place and a new day kind of mentality for us. It's been his longest stint without a major issue. And, frankly, we just weren't talking that much, about it, trying to kind of move on and maybe even naively starting to think maybe he was getting to be more normal and over it, but alas, that was not the case. And basically what happened with Andrew is there was nothing wrong. This is his condition with his body. Sometimes it'll be a virus, but there wasn't a virus, there wasn't infection, there wasn't bacteria, there were no cultures. Something just, whether it was dehydration, first, whether it was something with the stomach first, or whether it was his kidneys first, chicken, egg, type discussion. But his body just all of a sudden, out of the blue, and stopped working, and he got sick and turned into severe dehydration, which then turned into his kidneys shutting down, was turning into his organs wanting to shut down, and his bone marrow basically thinking he was dying and going into just overload. And so for those who understand white counts, he was at 64,000 on his white counts as it was beginning, which is basically his white count when he was initially diagnosed. And so those are leukemia numbers, and that's why they were so concerned about relapse as he went through these things. But got treated quickly and responded fine, and it all kind of turned around. And so we kind of wanted to be able to explain that, and Robin wanted to talk a little bit about it as well.
So I got a lot of questions about, or messages, just what happened, what led up to this, and I'm telling y'all there was nothing. I dropped him off Wednesday at Jones at the dorm. He was perfectly fine. And then Thursday, we got a call Thursday afternoon that he was sick. He was very upset, hurting, all the gut issues, throwing up and all those things. And I knew by his voice that this wasn't, something to play with. We had to get him seen about either at a clinic or emergency room. And I could have so easily said, well, Andrew, just take some Zofran and see how you're doing in a few hours or in the morning. And the realization that if I had done that, we would have been looking at a very different situation today. He could have gone to the ICU and organ failure, or have died, truthfully. And so sometimes we call it the eye test, but this was the hearing test, listening to him tell me what was going on. And I said, well, okay, we got to get you to a clinic and get you checked out. And so I'm so thankful that I listened to him, that instinct, that he needed to be seen, because if not, it was just going to be bad. And I just thank God that we did and that he provided once again for us.
And so, you know, with those things, just kind of thinking about it, as our life and with the church, and as your pastor, and these things come on, you know, we have to we're just prepared, for this. Maybe it'll be 3 years next time, but it could be a couple of months. This is just the condition of his organs and his body after all of his treatment, and then after all of his complications. He is blessed, not only simply that he is alive, but that his organs do function. That was not, the prognosis a few years ago after his complications. But they all just kind of function barely, and at any time things can just, not work. And so when these things do happen, we communicate these things. Many of you now know about the team Andrew on Facebook, and that's where we do updates when we're in the hospital with him. The Way Children's Hospital, and he will, till he's 25, he's still pediatric, cancer, patient long term. And somewhere around 11 o'clock every morning, you get everything. As we often say, this whole world would change in 30 days if all hospitals functioned as children's hospitals instead of adults. But we get all our information, get all the results, get everything that's going on, and then that's when we report and share those things, and so you kind of look for those. In the process, no news is sometimes good news when he is in the hospital, but we just more or less kind of share those things on a pretty regular basis with our churches and everything that matters. But then also, just kind of closing, as your pastor, these things, we talked on Sunday of daily, frustrations, daily pains, but also pains that can't be spoken. There's, all kinds of pains and stresses in life, and then there's deep sufferings, and these things are very much constantly on the front of mind when preaching, and I'm preaching for and to everyone with the idea of preparing for all these challenges. But we also try to share what these chronic and serious and severe illnesses are like, so in order to care for one another and for others, as an education for caregiving in the life of the church for all of us. Andrew's got some unique parts of his story, but it's not unique in suffering. We're not the only ones in the world, and there comes a point that one thing I'm learning going through this is there's no comparing real suffering. You cross that line from daily frustration pains, which are real but they're fleeting, to severe and serious sufferings. And once you're in that pond, you're in the pond, and everybody is in it when you're in it. And so God's word, we comfort with the comfort with which we receive, and that's what we must all be doing for one another. But we wanted to give you kind of an update and a bigger explanation, and maybe a little more kind of understanding of the edge in which Andrew is and will just always will be.